because humans are great.
Hey, humans!
Oh, hello!
Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinson.
I'm Janelle Pizarro.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology
that love what they do.
And do tech
stuff.
good.
Yeah! Do tech stuff good.
Yeah.
Ah! Hey guys,
Like,
welcome. We are at DevFest, Florida 2019. We are cracking Janelle the fuck up.
Hell yeah.
We are having a great time here in Orlando. Where are we at, Brian?
You just said Orlando.
We're in Orlando, Brian.
We're at
Disney
World.
Contemporary Resort.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are loving it. We're having a great time. We're talking to all these magical speakers. Speaking of which, we have Mike Herchel on the show.
Hello, how you doing?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I am like exhausted. This is a long day, but it's going well. My talk, despite getting booed off the stage,
Sure.
everything else is going pretty well. And I also been enjoying everyone else's talk, which is pretty important.
That's great. Oh, who's the fun ones that you liked watching?
Oh man. So the very first one, Chris something on PWA performance, and then John Papa about
John Papa.
He was talking about debugging Node. I got a lot out of both of those. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we should probably start off by saying a little bit about you, what you do, if you don't mind telling our audience.
All right, yeah. So I live in beautiful Gainesville, Florida. I have an 8. Yeah, right. Go Gators. Woo! Yeah. Got an 8-year-old daughter, 2 dogs. And I do web development for a company called Lullabot, which is a digital agency that does big-ass websites like the Grammys and MSNBC.com and stuff like that, and get to work on cool stuff. And, yeah.
So you fancy is what you're saying.
I like to pretend I'm fancy, but honestly, it's code.
Fancy code.
Fancy code.
Yeah, I remember watching a lot of the Lullabot Drupal tutorials back in the day.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And most of our work revolves around Drupal in some way or the other. We do, in addition to Drupal, we do a lot of design, content strategy, even Node and decoupled systems, but it all usually revolves around Drupal somewhere in the middle or in the mix.
You just throw it in there even if it's not necessary.
God,
we could definitely have Drupal in here somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
There have been clients that have called us in, and the first thought in my head is why the hell are you even using Drupal? Because it's obviously Drupal is very good at managing content. Yeah. But if you're doing something that's more oriented toward business processes, it's not the right solution always. And so we were sent in to clean this up. And of course, by then the decision has been made and we're doing this. And I would always joke with people, it's like trying to fit a bowling ball into a shoe. But we got it done. But for very content heavy sites, Drupal is a pretty damn good solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm loving the Drupal 8s.
Yeah, as am I.
Yeah, very nice.
What's a Drupal for,
So a Drupal is something that you would use to build a CMS.
Ooh, so not a CMS.
Not a CMS. It's not like a out-of-the-box WordPress kind of thing, but it's something to where you build the CMS. So you build how you want things to be. You build out the content types, you build out the views. But in a lot of ways, it has some of the same kind of things where Drupal, I think, has or WordPress rather has what do they call? Is it plugins?
Yeah, plugins.
Plugins, and where Drupal has modules. Yep. And then you build on top of that, and so you build your own custom CSS or CMS, and you build your own kind of fields out. I want this picture, and this is how I want it to display a field for this and a field for that. So you're building out your own CMS in Drupal.
So you're making a more better WordPress.
Well,
you're
making a more customized WordPress. Something that you tailor directly to your business case, and a lot of times with WordPress, you might install, I don't know, some plugin and it gets you 80% of the way and you're really excited, and then the last 20% is just hell on earth.
And
Yeah.
5 other
It's
custom
jQuery
plugins.
and lots of important.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you get all this like
Yeah.
weird shit code with
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
lot of those plugins. And like the great thing about Drupal is you could customize it.
Well, it's a real content management system.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is. It's,
Well,
Yeah.
WordPress is a blogging platform, which is
Yes.
slowly becoming a content management system.
Yeah,
Yes.
and to be fair, there's like systems in WordPress that kind of like I almost call it like Drupal Lite. Like they do like
Yeah.
advanced advanced content fields, and then they have like Timber, which you can do
Mhm.
Twig in WordPress.
I heard that.
And things like that. And for those that don't know, like Twig is Drupal's default templating language. Assuming you're just doing a regular
It's like liquid.
front end. Yeah, it's very similar. And so yeah, WordPress is definitely like a huge competitor, and WordPress is awesome. I love open source software. I don't want to ditch on WordPress, but like Drupal handles content a lot better.
Heard that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just needed an overall. Like I keep hearing Drupal, and I was like, you know what? Like
Hey,
I just need all the humans to let me know.
I actually have something for you here.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, go us.
Yes.
No, not
So-
for you. Only for me.
Just for you.
Just for me.
Not you two.
No.
So
I'm fine with that.
coming up in less than a month. Here in Orlando is Florida Drupal Camp.
What?
Which is a annual conference with about between 200 and 250 people. 3 days. First day is all training. You get the training free with your ticket. Second day is get free lunch. You get your
I like
third
those
day.
I love free lunch.
Yeah.
Free lunch
right?
is my favorite.
Third day after the after party, you wake up and you're not feeling so hot, but there's more sessions and then there's contribution sprints.
But there's an after
Ooh.
party.
Oh yeah, there's all this.
And you get to open source.
You get to open source. You can commit directly to Drupal. So like all these websites that are running your code, and that's pretty cool.
What?
Yeah, you can do that.
That's dope ass.
So you can get all of this for the low price of
A used car?
$75.
What?
But that's
Whoa!
not all.
That's not all.
That's
there's
not all.
more!
That is not all.
Oh,
So just for DevFest in my session, I had a little slide up. I have a special code.
What's the
Stop. What
special
is
code?
it?
Special code is all together, all lowercase, spelled out. DevFest Florida, 50% off.
Yeah!
Yes.
You heard it
That
here.
was just for me though. You can't have
Yeah.
Oh wait.
DevFest Florida. No, you got to spell out Florida. So Orida. There you go.
that.
Horrid.
Yeah, $37.
So what's that URL for our audience again?
FLDrupal.camp.
Wow, that is
Done.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
We're all going.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
We're all
I'm not a
going.
big Drupal
you're-
fan.
It's okay.
I'm a big Drupal
just
fan.
go.
We're
and-
going.
Janelle and
So-
I could go.
So
I've never
$7
done a
for food?
Drupal,
Yes,
and I would like to
and
open
it's
I
and,
love some
and a
Drupal.
T-shirt, and we have
And
Like
lunch.
stickers.
There's lunch. I don't know if you
There's
understand
sessions on everything besides Drupal. There's sessions on project managing. There's sessions on design. We have a lot of people seem to be presenting on Gatsby.js and kind of hooking in Gatsby.js into Drupal.
yeah.
Interesting.
So a lot of that is going to go on, so you can learn that. Like I said, just free React training. Just general React training. If you want to learn some React for $37, you can just go to that training and say, "Screw you guys, I'm not coming back the next day." Like that's legal. We're not. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I always just complain about here, Drupal camp. I bring my tents, I bring my sleeping gear, and then there's no camping.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
Right?
But we have had alligators, live alligators, where we
Well, I
actually
know.
we pay Gatorland to bring out an alligator, and you can hold the alligator there. And it's kind of cool because we have Florida Drupal Camp in February for a reason, because all like the Northerners come down out of the snow and they come to Orlando, to come to beautiful Orlando in February because it's wonderful down here this time of
Yeah, that makes sense.
year. Yeah.
Well, Mike, now that you've given me the most beautiful thing in my life, tell me about your talk.
Yeah, so I was talking about Chrome developer tools. So this is a talk I have given like many, many times. Generally, it goes long, and generally it goes like, I can talk about this for probably about over an hour. And I had to do it in 30 minutes. So I practiced this. I haven't given it in like 6 months or so. So I practiced this this past Thursday at Gainesville's front-end developer meetup. And I went like so long. I was like, shit, I gotta like cut this down. So I kind of broke everything down, time boxed everything. So I went through like my 9 slides, and then I just kind of went through like tab by tab with like, this is what this tab does, but here's what you might not know. And I was speaking so quickly, and I got through it with 1 minute to spare, so I could do like my wrap up and thank you slide and tell people about Florida Drupal Camp. And people were asking questions. People were like, honestly, kind of like interested because, you know, and even one of the speakers who spoke earlier was like, yeah, I learned something. This is pretty awesome. So maybe they were just saying that to be nice and like to kind of give me a little bit of pity. But I think it was pretty awesome.
That's great. Like, so what are some of the plugins?
Oh, so it's not so much plugins. It's about Chrome developer tools and how to.
Okay. So which kind of the tools do you go into? Like, what's some of the highlights?
Oh man, so like. First of all, like one of the things that I always try to like give people a head start on is proper JavaScript debugging. Okay. So, you know, I ask a question before, like right when I get to source step, proper JavaScript debugging, raise your hand. How many people do console log type stuff? And like pretty much everybody does console log. So yeah. So I say, all right. Yeah. So I'm going to change your life here. This is how to do it. This is how to do proper JavaScript debugging. Here you can set your watch items. You can look at your scope. You can see what this is at any given point. You can open up your console at the same time and kind of evaluate your scripts. You can set conditional breakpoints. Yeah. There's tons of cool stuff. And for any listeners that are still doing like console.logs for debugging, go ahead and just Google it. Google how to use Chrome developer tools for JavaScript debugging. If you're doing Node applications, John Papa had a cool talk about debugging Node apps. I don't do a lot of that, so I don't know much about it, but it was really neat. So that was one cool thing. Another thing that I talk about is like some of the keyboard shortcuts. You know, like if you're familiar with like VS Code and or Sublime, there's like keyboard shortcuts. You know, Shift Command was it P will open up like you can do that in Chrome. Yeah, you can do that in DevTools, and you can do anything in Dev through keyboard commands that you can by clicking around. So like one of the things I always do is like turn off and turn on HTML comments to see you can disable JavaScript. You can do just like a million different things like that. I talk about like some accessibility features where like, you know, like one of the cool things in Chrome is like they have a little color picker, you know, so if you set like a background color in your CSS, you can click the little thing and it opens up like a little color picker, and it'll actually show you it's a WCAG compliant, and you know, expand it and it'll show you like the little like curve where if you drag it above the curve, it's not compliant. Below the curve, it's contrasty enough.
Wow,
that type
that's
of stuff
awesome.
is super cool. Talk about some performance. One of the banes of my existence is third-party content scripts. You know, like all these freaking ads and shit like that get embedded into your website. Yeah. So there's data out there that says, all right, well, you're going to lose like 27% of your revenue for every like second your page. Yeah. So what you can do is you can profile your website with and without those third-party scripts, and you can say like, all right, well, these two third-party scripts together add up to 1 second. Are they really contributing 27% of my fucking bottom line? Yeah. And if not, you can take it to your marketing department. You can like shove this up your ass. You know, like what the hell is this? And you can do that, and those are the conversations that need to happen.
Yeah, pull that shit out of Google Tag Manager. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not gonna cost.
Absolutely. We were like the website that I've been picking on because it's like freaking horrible is usatoday.com. So usatoday.com was like in the news, like they switched to European version to super slim and fast, and it like loads in like a half a second. It has like no ads, and it's just like everything you want a website to be. But usatoday.com, if you load it up like without an ad blocker, it loads.
What? It doesn't even load.
It's not even loading.
No, look, watch.
Oh, there it goes.
No, what?
Oh yeah, well,
You're right. It really does mess up.
so like we
Unless
were
it's
looking,
broken.
and I'm not even shitting you. We were like I had it running into background, and it kept on doing some stuff while I'm doing other things. And I went back to the network tab. I switched to the network tab, and it had, I'm not shitting you, over 1,200 HTTP requests.
Ew.
Because it was like cycling in and out ads. We were up to like 13 megabytes at the time. We looked at, like, I did a performance profile where when you do like a little, you hit the little circle thing and it'll reload the page, and the time to interactive was something like 30 seconds.
Wow.
It's freaking ridiculous. You hop on a VPN, you load the European version, and it reloads in like a second because there's no third-party ads.
I wonder if there's like their developers like sit in their showers drinking tequila, just crying.
That's exactly what they do. I have worked on websites before where I worked really hard, like some big content websites, and then they just shove this shit in there, you know? And like I'm the vendor. It's hard for me to have that conversation because number one, I don't know these people in marketing, you know, and I might say something to my contact at this organization, but there's only so much you can do. And meanwhile, it's like, shit, you know?
Yeah. And you see it on a lot of so many sites that things like that happen. And we had someone from Vox earlier, which I absolutely love The Verge, but their advertisements, whoever handles their advertising portion, it's like the full freaking screen takes over by this giant ad. And I understand they need revenue, and I completely understand that they need to do that. That maybe there's a reason, and maybe it does work. But it's so obnoxious and hurts the experience. And there has to be a balance somewhere.
I feel like it could hurt brand as well.
Yeah, well, in a way it does, because The Verge is always the site that people that jokingly go to test performance of browsers and computers because of how long it takes to load.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And what was the other one that I was, like Medium, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
You go to Medium, it's like this narrow, tiny window with everything else that loads around.
I know what you're talking about.
So
like the fixed headers, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
So I have this great idea. It's the best idea ever.
Okay.
And it's like one of those things that I'll probably never get to, right? So I want to create a Chrome extension, and what I want to do is I want it to, like, you would go to it like on a site like Medium where it pops up the what do you call it, interstitial modal, or go to whatever. Yeah. And the first thing it does is it looks for like something like anything that's named modal, and it automatically just like, you know, remove it from the DOM. Then it looks at like the RY or fixed. And it removes fixed and does position static. Then it looks at the body and any type of overflow hiddens on there. It removes that. And then it, like, I don't know, it can like look for like any type of like gradients above it and remove that. So basically you can go to these things that have these interstitial modals that pop up that are annoying as all hell. You hit the button and it just like does like, I don't know, 3 seconds worth of like DOM manipulation. And at that point, bam, you have a functioning website.
Oh, man, you lost like more than 27% though at that point.
So, yeah, but so what? So at least I can read the damn thing. Yeah.
But now I can figure out how to debug a thing.
And honestly, that's what like mobile Safari's reader mode is for. You know, like mobile Safari's reader mode is for bullshit websites like that.
On the desktop version, Google.
Oh, man, I tell you what, yeah. So all right, so I'm gonna get on like my little like tinfoil soapbox here.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's like a fucking podcast. This is what it's for, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like you guys, I'm guessing do some front end development. So
we do that.
You're familiar with that? Like Safari is just like a steaming pile of shit. And so I believe. And you're also familiar with like battery. All right, so if you have, it's better on the battery.
That's what I like.
So another thing is like if you're on an iPhone or an iPad and you're even using Chrome, you're actually using Safari's web view with that. You're not actually using. So the reason that they do that, and that I believe that Apple like intentionally hobbles Safari, not just because they're dicks, but because they make a lot of money through apps. Yeah. And if when PWAs take off, it basically bypasses the Apple App Store, and they don't get their 15% off of reoccurring revenue and their 15% of everything like that. That's literally like over $10 billion a year that they would be missing out on. So if I'm Apple, I'm going to intentionally hobble my web experience, and I'm going to cripple the service workers, which they did, and I'm going to do this so people still have to make apps.
Boom.
Boom. Right?
Yeah.
Soapbox. You heard it.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. A little bit of tinfoil hat going on, but that's cool. People have done a lot worse for a lot less.
So have you tried to explain this to, I know you said like, how do you explain this to marketing people? You know, you don't want to really bring it up a lot, but like, is there any kind of a way that we could take this argument and to these people in a manner that says, you know, literally this is this kind of how you explained before, this is this worth it with that return on investment?
So the best tool for this is webpagetest.org. So webpagetest.org has like a little tab on the bottom where you can run scripts. And one of the options, if you Google it, you can find it, is to only load scripts off of the origin domain. So another cool thing that webpagetest.org does is you can do comparisons and profiles. So you do a regular profile of your website, and then a one where you're just loading assets off your origin domain, and webpagetest.org can comparison videos. That video shows them loading together. So and it'll show them loading together. You take that, download the MP4, take that to the marketing people. Well, not necessarily the marketing people, maybe marketing the person. Yeah, I mean,
you connect.
Yeah. Everything is like very political in large organizations, but you take that to the person where you think you can get traction. You bring them stats where like, hey, every second you're losing X amount of money. You know, are these marketing scripts really, really useful? So that's a conversation that needs to be having more. You know, that's another thing to talk about that's very similar is that kind of solves that problem, but like a little bit more heavy-handed is AMP. Like when I say like Google's AMP HTML, and when I say Google, like it's an open source project, and every time you say that it belongs to Google, they yell at you. But like the AMP is fast, isn't it? Like, I mean, they kind of pre-render
everything out.
Yeah. You can only do so much. You can't throw all this bullshit in there.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the reasons the AMP is fast is just like because
you're actually loading just the HTML.
Yeah, you can't do all this stuff, and it can do like ad networks, but if you're like hyper optimized, and if it was like that for everybody, it would be like completely awesome. You wouldn't need it, you know. So we'll see.
I have a question for you because looking at like everything that's in here, I'm stoked, especially because you're like, I could talk for like an hour and a half, like maybe like 17 hours just straight about this topic. Like debugging is something that, you know, I don't know, I personally use Firefox nightly. Like that's my like go-to for everything. Like I want to be convinced to use Chrome developer tools. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like because I want to see maybe like what's the difference, like why is it more gooder, right? Like more gooder.
Yeah, more gooder.
So I don't want to ever turn any.
What's funny with that?
That's grammar.
I don't want to ever turn anyone away from Firefox. Like I believe in like Mozilla's mission more so than Google's. You know, Mozilla is like almost like the stewards of the web. You know, they are the good guys. Google used to be good, but man, they've been turning a little bit evil lately. You know, so I
know where you are. Right?
Yeah,
it's my favorite conference ever.
I know. Like I'm gonna go outside and probably get shanked. You know, like by freaking one of these cloud advocates or some shit. This is for the cloud, bitch. Anyway, so
I broke it, but
So like. Firefox developer tools are pretty good. I tried to switch to Firefox. I went straight Firefox for about a week, and I kind of went back. Like I ran into some issues where like it wasn't handling source maps properly, like especially while debugging. Like there's little things like in Chrome, like say like if you have like I don't know, you're in your elements pane, you have like a linear gradient or something like that. And you know how you have some digits in linear gradient, you hit up and down. If you're in Chrome, you can hit up and down on those, and it will actually change the values. In Firefox, it wasn't doing this. Firefox, you can hit up and down on like say like a pixel value or a rem value, but it wasn't doing. It was just like a whole bunch of little things, you know, that I was used to. But that being said, like Firefox has like Firefox's grid inspector is way better. They
the best.
They also have a Flexbox.
Flex one.
Yeah, I've read about the Flexbox
It's
one.
dope.
I wish I had Flexbox. I wish I had the Flexbox one like several years ago because Flexbox is way more complicated than grid. Like I know it now, but it took me a while to get the hang of it, you know.
I don't like the way Firefox does color profiles. They're a little weird because they're actually accurate is the problem. Because what they do with images, for instance, they actually, unless there's a color profile specified with the image, it uses a default color profile. It doesn't use necessarily the one that you've set on your computer. So you have to like configure Firefox to use your computer profile, because otherwise it renders it based on the accuracy of what the image is. Because the intent is, the way the web's supposed to work is images that are supposed to have color profiles associated with them. And it doesn't, and most people don't actually do that, though.
Yeah, I never knew that.
We learned a thing today. I like it.
Well, we're just about out of time.
No.
We are.
I want to talk to you for a few more hours.
Forever.
Yeah,
No,
Where can we
we'll
get
have you on the show.
I might be drinking some beer later. I'm not saying I will be, but I might be drinking a shitload of beer later.
Okay.
Nice, I like that.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and how's the best way people get a hold of you, find out more about you?
And take your slides.
Yeah, no joke, right? So like my email address is mike@herchel.com, which Herchel has a C, not an S. And you can just send it out. And then like on Twitter, I'm Mike Herchel all together. And then I don't know. Like my phone number is 352-354-2237. Just call me anytime.
Doing that.
Nice.
And what else? Yeah.
Everybody's calling.
All right.
Call me.
Well, we'll share that on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes.
That really want that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Like, I love my job, but there's always a price. Like, you can be like a cool
I'm like $11 million.
yeah, you can be a cool like $500,000 a year or something out there. Any recruiters out there, like, I will probably like shovel shit for you. You know?
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care. Thanks.
Yeah. See you guys. We got more coming up. Toodles.
Kids are free.
Yeah, you want